Okay.
All right. So today on Conversations with Coco, I am with Mr. Robert Glick, who is the owner of Art D. Fumar. Um,
Art de Fumar.
Art D. So where does the name come from?
Well, the name of the company is a play on words because in Spanish, Art de Fumar means the art of smoking, but Art de Fumar, if it's spelled out in Spanish, has an E after the T, Arte de Fumar. But I took off the E to make it sort of a pun and called it Art de Fumar, the art of smoking, and hence the artwork I do with cigar bands.
And I have been mesmerized by some of your pieces, like you had a mask, like a full mask. Like, how did you get started doing this?
Do you want to see the mask?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's see if I can show it to you. Are you able to see it?
Yes, there it is.
There it is. It happens to be, I'm in my cigar room. So it happens to be one of my favorite pieces and is actually the cover of my brochure. So I love it. So I always like to see it. So how did I get started? It actually started in this room. During the Hurricane Sandy storm, and I think it was 2012, I built a cigar room off the back of my house, and I collect cigar bands for my smoking, and they accumulated. And I guess I come from a family of hoarders. I don't know, but I just kept on collecting the cigar bands, and I had boxes. And I said, what am I going to do with them? And one day I saw a coaster, and it was a little wood coaster. And I just sat and put some bands on the wood coaster, very rudimentary, if you will. Like, you've probably seen cigar band before. And most people that do that artwork, the cigar bands are straight lines for the most part. I mean, I can show you, So, for example, you have a cigar band, and there's a straight line to it.
Right.
So a lot of the artists would take the bands and put them next to each other. And to me, I didn't like the lines. I always grew up loving puzzles. So I decided eventually, and I started out doing my artwork like everybody else. And then I didn't like the lines, and I eventually decided that I've got to cut each and every single band. And I would sit in my car in the beginning, and as my wife was driving or something, or if I'd be away on vacation, I would take my stuff and I would cut, and I'd have special hole punchers and circle punchers. And I eventually taught myself a design process, and it started out with a coaster. And then, like anything else, like an assembly line, if you start to do things repetitively, you teach yourself how to do things differently and how to do it better, I think. And from an artistic standpoint, then I wanted to become creative and do things that people wouldn't even think. And it really wasn't anything but just having fun. And I wasn't ever thinking in the slightest about, taking this to another level. So eventually I would have stuff, I'd make stuff, and I eventually set up in my living room a little art studio on a table. And then week by week got bigger and bigger. And week by week, my wife got more upset and more upset and more upset. So I converted my basement into an art studio, and I literally constructed it, designed it. And it's where I get up every single morning at about 5 o'clock. I was up at 5 this morning for 3 hours working on some pieces. So it just blossomed that way.
So do you have in mind what you're going to do when you start, or does it's like today's Monday? So did you get up today and say, I wonder what I want to do, and it just comes to you?
Well, that's a good question. I think in the beginning, Coco, maybe the answer was yes to that, but my hobby, by the way, which is not my career, I don't do this for a living per se. I'm actually a lawyer here in New York. I have a law firm. But I used to think that and get up in the morning, what am I going to do next? But, I'm proud to say that I get up in the morning and say, okay, which order am I going to fill today? What am I going to do for which customer? So I'm working on right now about 6 projects at once. And I could never stay on the same project because I have to walk away from it and then watch it. And then in my studio, I have my projects and potential projects in front of me. And as I'm working, I think about things and I look at the other projects. So it's constant. So at this point this morning, I'm doing a piece. I've been commissioned by the 8 Lounge in Las Vegas at Resorts World, as many people know where PCA was in Vegas. And I was introduced to the owner, Giuseppe, and he saw some of my artwork, and he saw a piece that I brought to PCA, which was a straight flush, all out of enlarged cards. And he commissioned me to do the 4 8s. So the 8 of spades, hearts, diamonds, and clubs. And it's going to be framed, and it's going to be on the wall with amongst his other art. And I think each piece of art has a metal plate QR code, so you can learn more about the artist, go to their Instagram, go to their website, and it's always going to be there. So that's the piece I've been working on. It's been taking me a couple of months. I'm almost done, and I'm hoping to have it unveiled and have a little event there at the Big Smoke.
Wow, that is
that's the piece I'm working on now.
So so with that project, you have to have reds and blacks. So do you, like, I saw that you had videoed yourself making a piece and you have a container with all of the pieces of the bands in it. So do you have your containers by color or by band size or by band brand?
How about this? Instead of answering the question, how about I go show you?
Okay.
All right. Let's see if I can turn my camera around. If I can turn my camera around, then I can show you.
Okay.
So either way I can do that. So,
okay.
All right. So now we're I feel like a cameraman on the move here in the, we're going to show you.
And while you're walking.
Okay, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Go ahead. So I happen to be
all the
bands over the last week. So that coincidentally, you caught me at a time that twice a year I separate my bands.
Oh my gosh. Do people give you the, wow, you're so neat and organized.
Yeah, I blame that on my mother. But yeah, so there, and then here, I'll tell you while I'm up, Coco, I'll take you for a very quick tour to the studio so you can see.
Now, are all of these cigars that you have smoked, or do people give you bands?
I'll answer that question right after I show you this so I can talk.
Okay.
Let me just do this. So this is the studio.
Okay.
And there's the cards.
Oh, wow. That is gorgeous.
So I'm working on a bunch of projects, as this is what I was telling you about.
Wow.
So this is my studio.
Wow. That is amazing. That is.
And then I'll show you. I'll just show you real quick some pieces.
Oh my.
This is all miniature.
Gosh, that is too cute. And you come up with these ideas on
all cigar boxes. Yes.
Wow.
And if people haven't seen this, they can follow me on Instagram at Art de Fumar, which is ARTDEFUMAR. This is one of the original pieces that I had done when I met Jorge Padron. He saw this and then asked me to make them with his bands, which I did. That's a night. Needless to say, I'm a New Yorker.
I was about to say. Wow.
Those are all cigar bands. And then this was, I was recently in Cigar Snob magazine. And that's what I was telling you. And so these are pieces that I'm working on for different customers, ashtrays. Okay. And then this is my little Hall of Fame. So that's a quick tour of my studio.
That is, thank you for showing me this. That is
no problem.
It's amazing. It's like, it's nothing like I've ever seen before. And the level
I get that.
The level of organization that it takes to have that many cigar bands separated, and it looks as if, it looks like you have cut these out so carefully not to nick the band or anything. Like, how, I know you said you use a lot of punches and cutters and things like that. So if you decide to take apart a band, you're literally taking the entire band apart. It's not like just cutting off the edges and cutting out the circle. You're literally taking deconstructing the entire band.
I am surgically removing portions of the band.
Yes.
And I use them and I put them, and sometimes, for example, let me give you an example. I happen to have, let's see if I can, so like right now, here we go. Not that I'm giving all my secrets away. I'm not giving them all away, I promise you. But so, for example, here's a Hoya band, okay?
Okay.
I will just use that circle in the middle and nothing else, okay?
Okay.
Or I may take a small cutter and use part of that little tinny star, and I'll keep them because I'll use them for the way in which I've taught myself to design. Here's a traditional Rocky Patel, and you've all seen it with all the circles.
Right.
I will literally sit there and just separate all Patels and use the same size circle cutter to get these circles, and then I'll keep them in a container in separated boxes. So like you saw downstairs. So yes, I do. So I'll go back and you asked me, I promise you I would answer your question. Yes. You asked me, I think, did you ask me if I smoke all the cigars?
Yes, or does people give you their bands?
I want you to know that everybody asks the same 10 questions, and that's one of them.
Okay.
The answer is absolutely not. I do not. I'm in my cigar room. I do have about, at any given time, maybe around 2,000, 2,500 cigars, a hobby of mine. But no, I belong to a local lounge here on Long Island, New York, the Matador. And all my good friends, and they're like family members to me. And there are boxes throughout the tables, and they have 5 lounges, and there are boxes throughout. And every so often they'll collect them, or I'll collect them, and they'll put them in a bag. I have people, Pogo, that from all of the United States, friends of mine, companies that I've dealt with, send me bands. If people want, feel free to DM me at Art de Fumar. You want to send me bands? I have people that send me bands from all over the world. Wow. I have companies now that I have relationships with. I get bands, for example. I regularly do work, and my heart is really with the Fuente company, Oliva, Padron. I provide work for all their charities. I donate my artwork. I get bands sent to me all the time. La Galera, Raquel Quesada, Hoya de Nicaragua. So I have relationships at this point with the cigar industry that they've really, it's symbiotic. So as much as I want their bands, They know that they want to be in the art as well. And so, but to answer your question in a long-winded way, they're from all different places. I have one who moved to North Carolina, and every couple of months he comes back up to say hello, and he brings me a big bag.
Wow.
I'll go to lounges if I'm in business, and they know that I do, and they've collected. So I get that from all over. I have hundreds of thousands of bands, but I still want to collect.
So do you know, like when you start a piece, do you know how many bands you may have to use for that piece? Like the piece that you're doing for the lounge in Vegas. Do you know how many of your bands you will need for that?
That's not one of the 10 questions ever asked, Coco, so that's good. No. The answer to the question is, depending on the piece, after a while, I've been doing this about 7 years now, I'll get a feel. And especially if I'm doing a piece like a flag, where I need, if it's an American flag, the red, the white, and the blue, I'll have to go searching and do a treasure hunt and spend, a couple of hours just gathering up white bands. So I don't know exactly how many, but I have a feel after a while doing it, knowing what I want.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you are putting a piece together, do you gather all of the necessary bands at that time, or do you start the piece and then as you're going, you say, "Oh, I might want to use that," and you have to stop and go search for a specific band that you want?
Great question. Generally speaking, Coco, I don't decide where the bands go. I know that sounds crazy. The bands decide where they go.
Okay.
I literally let the band just tell me. I'll pick up a band and see where it fits in. I'm not saying let me get this band and put it here.
Okay.
Unless I'm doing something that has a pattern. So, for example, I just did something, and I'm not allowed to say yet because it hasn't been announced, but I've just been commissioned and completed a piece of art for a very well-known celebrity. And again, I thought about showing it, but I can't because it hasn't been gifted yet.
Okay.
That well-known celebrity has his own cigar line, and everybody knows who he is. And I have to create a pattern. So let's say, for example, I'm using Fuente Opus X bands. I'll give you an example. So forget Opus X, but here's a piece I just did for a charity event for Carlito in September.
Okay.
And I'll be donating this to raise money for his children's charity. You see how I do the pattern?
Right. Oh, okay. I see. Yes.
So this to create, and so I know what I'm doing in that regard.
Okay.
But for the most part, if it's just an ashtray, let's say, for example, right? I just decide where the pieces are going to go.
Okay.
Excuse me. The pieces tell me where they're going to go, and I want to have a flow, like a puzzle. I want everything fit together so it looks seamless. So, for example, okay, so this is called a cigador.
Okay.
It's a single cigar humidor. Okay. And often when I do pieces, I'll want the matching parts. Now here you can't see it. Here's if I have pieces that I was going to put here, I'd want them lined up.
Okay.
So when it turns, they'll be seamless with that.
Gotcha.
So that's when I may look for a piece. If I'm doing, like I showed you that piece with the man with the cigar for Fuente, if I was doing regular ones, then I may put something very special by his nose, something like has a band has both, so it's equal.
Okay.
For example, I'm trying to see if I have a pen here. Not, but I could take, let's say it was a diamond crown or something that is going to have shape, so it looks like part of the nose. Or if I'm going to take something for that to have the eyes, I'll do something that it looks like an eye. So depending on the piece, sometimes I'll want to use bands that send a message or give the feel. Let's say you want an eyebrow. Maybe I'll choose a black forbidden, Opus Forbidden band because it looks like an eyebrow, if you will.
Okay.
So sometimes I'll do that as well.
Okay. Now I saw on your site that you had done a pair of shoes. Now, were they your shoes or did someone send you their shoes to do?
It all started with my social media manager. Her name is Regina. And she gave me the idea of doing a piece of high-heeled shoes. And so we decided to order her size because this way she could model. And it blew up on Instagram. I had people left and right asking me all about the design. I then made the shoes. And I said, you know what? I never thought about this. Let me make a pair of men's shoes. And quite honestly, what gave me the idea was I was at La Gran Fumada in Dominican Republic. It's the Fuente annual event to celebrate Fuente. And I saw Carlito wearing these amazing, men's shoes, the traditional Dominican, wingtip shoes. And I said, I'm going to make a pair of wingtip shoes and I'm going to use Fuente bands. And it just took off from there. And the shoes that I made, I surprised Carlito. I had him sign them. And then I was honored by him to ask if I would allow them to be put in his factory on glass in his homage and his, like music area of his factory. And so they're now sitting in his factory on display. So the shoes, left and right, people are ordering shoes. Belkis from Sisters of the Leaf has a pair of the Opus X Red. I plan on making some Instagrams. I was thinking about this over the weekend. I haven't wearing the shoes. So yeah, it's really taken off.
I mean, as you can see from my logo, high heels are my thing. So I'm like, oh,
we can talk.
Yeah, I've already said that's what I want for Christmas or after Christmas. I don't care as long as I get them for next summer. So how long does it take? I know you mentioned you've been working on the piece for the lounge in Vegas for a couple of months. So is a couple of months the normal timeline for your pieces? I know probably smaller pieces, maybe not, but.
No, I mean, this commission piece of the 4/8 is a larger commission, although I've done bigger, but this was a larger commission, so it's taken some time. In my law firm, in my reception is a American flag like the one I showed you before, but it is 4 feet by 6 feet.
Oh, wow.
And framed. And it's beautiful, and that's the centerpiece in my reception area. So that piece took me 6 months.
Wow.
Now, again, it's 6 months, but not 100% full time. But a certain amount of time, almost every day. But
right.
I would change projects because I would fulfill other orders and do other things. So, like I said, I like to step away. But projects can take me anywhere from, I could make a lighter that could take me a very short period of time. I sell a lot of lighters on Instagram. People have them either custom made. They want their bands, they'll send me their bands, or they want all Padron. So, and the lighters are great. They work heavy duty. People order lighters and ashtrays from me all the time, especially holidays, corporate gifts. I'll put I'll put somebody's logo in an ashtray
Mhm.
and then surround. Let's say they're giving a gift for a company, and they want the company logo, a client of theirs, and then surrounded by ashtrays. I've had people who put a picture of him and his wife in it because she was giving it as an anniversary gift. So
Oh,
all
wow.
different things.
So when you think about retiring from your law firm, is this what you want to do when you retire, or when you retire, will that be it? You're not going to do any more pieces. You're just going to enjoy retirement.
The day I retire from law has nothing to do with my passion. I will do this. I'm already cutting up enough bands so when I'm in the nursing home, they'll be easy to grab. Okay, so no, I will do this until I'm not physically able to. It's not just the artwork for me.
Mm-hmm.
I joke around all the time when people ask me, but this is my therapy.
Okay.
It is truly my therapy. I can get up in the morning for 2, 3, 4 hours, have the news on in the back of my head, hear the same 100 commercials.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell you every word to every commercial, but I've never watched them,
Oh.
literally, because I'm entrenched. So it's my passion, and I say it's my therapy. And my wife always says I need to do a lot more artwork then. So, but no, it's something that I truly love, and I'm always thinking of things to do differently and to take it to new heights. Actually.
Okay. So are you smoking a cigar while you're working, or do you use your cigar as, smoking it before to put you in the frame of mind to get into your artwork?
Well, I have my art studios downstairs in my basement. And if I were to light up a cigar in my basement, that would cause a major problem for my wife.
Mhm.
So I don't. I don't smoke while I'm down there as much as I'd like to, but I do sit in my room here like I did last night with my little tabletop and my scissors and my cutters, smoking and cutting my labels because that's just my way of relaxing.
Okay.
But no, and honestly, I have too much in the chemicals and glues, and we all know smoking how the ashes will just fall all over the place. So
Right.
as you see, I'm a little bit neat, and so no, I won't smoke while I'm doing my artwork.
So you said that I caught you when you were doing one of the times of the year that you take everything out and you reorganize. Is that because when you're getting your bands, you just put them somewhere, or is it because you need to take inventory to see which bands you might need more of?
It's a combination of both. Number one, I do this about 2 times a year because as I do my artwork, my inventory goes down. Plus, I keep them in plastic buckets, and I have so many bands. I when I was downstairs, I could have showed you a full-blown construction black garbage bag that's filled with them now.
Oh, wow.
Those are the ones. Those are the ones I've already gone through
Okay.
because I want to get the ones that I need. I don't want to get like the secondary bands, and I have plenty. So I have to literally get the ones that I want to use.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's another therapeutic process for me, but it allows me to really, get more of the inventory that I need for the designs. And at the same time, cigar bands, like anything else, are changing. So I want to be able to. It's funny. I'll know which buckets I put when.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And the newer buckets will have the newer bands. So I have to get the newer bands. For example, let's say it's McAuliffe, a boutique cigar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but they changed their bands up recently, and I want to get that band. So I'm constantly trying to up my inventory.
This I just tell you, I am so fascinated by it, and yeah, we will be talking offline because I'm gonna need me a pair of shoes with this on, because up here in Maryland, I don't think they're not gonna be ready to see a pair of shoes with cigar bands on it. So I'm thoroughly excited. I'm going on your website almost every day just looking because I'm so mesmerized by it. And
Thanks. You know, it's funny. The website, as much as I love it, given the nature of my pieces are one of a kind, it's hard to have a website with pricing because it's not like you just go on and buy a lighter and buy this.
Right.
Oh, you mean you can, but each piece is one of a kind, so people really want to see it. So it's not conducive per se for a website, but I do. But the best way, honestly, is to just keep on watching my Instagram. Every day I'm posting new items. People take screenshots, send me a DM, send me an email to my website. There's a page that you can do that. So there's all different ways. And, you know, I see that your shoes in the background are red. And as you see, I have plenty of red bands, so we can do something.
Right. So I'm just amazed by it. And I am so thankful that you were able to sit down with me this morning. And I just can't wait to see, I can't wait to see the piece for the celebrity being unveiled, because I know you're going to be on your Instagram with it. So
well, I promise you we'll keep in touch. As soon as I get permission, I'll share with you. I'm actually going to be, real quick, as a quick plug, next month's Cigar Journal magazine, which is an international magazine. They featured me on, it's coming out in, if not this week, by next week. And then I'm being, my wife and I are going to Germany to the Intertabac, where I'm honored to be getting a trophy award for the artwork from Cigar Journal magazine. So it's exciting.
Well, I definitely want to have you back, because I want to hear all about the trip to Germany. I want to hear all about the unveiling of the new piece. I want to hear all about the unveiling in Vegas. So you're definitely going to be hearing from my intern to get another interview. I'm going to get you on the calendar early, because I feel you're going to be very, very busy in the coming months.
Thanks so much.
So tell everyone where they can reach you on Instagram or and wherever else you are.
So the best way to follow my artwork, follow me, is definitely on Instagram at ArtDeFumar, ArtDeFumar. People think my name is Art, but it's not. It's Rob. And so ArtDeFumar, and at my website, on my website, at artdefumar.com, ArtDeFumar.com.
Thank you.
And check out the Cigar Journal magazine or Cigar Snob magazine.
I have the Cigar Snob magazine. I just haven't opened it yet, but it's on my stack to be read. So I can't wait to read it. Thank you for taking
Cigar Snob was last month.
Yes. Thank you for taking the time early on a Monday morning to sit down and talk to me.
My pleasure.
I can't wait to see more of your work. I'll be stalking your page. I'll be stalking your page.
Stalk away.
Have a great Monday and the rest of your week.
Thank you.